for us to just start streaming, and let's see whether the stream has started. Yes. Can someone please check whether the stream is working fine? I'll just send the link here. Okay.
Yes, sir, it's working.
Okay, and the audio and video, everything is fine, right? Okay, so last class we were learning about functions, and before that we learned about the different types, data structures in Python, namely the dictionary, tuple, list, and the set. Okay, and then we learned about the functions, and this was the last slide that we were discussing. So we discussed we were discussing about what certain functions does by just not giving the proper name to the function, but just giving the logic and asking and guessing, not guessing, but working out what it is and figuring out what it is. Okay, so afterwards we had one function over here. This is slightly different from the functions that we have learned so far. So if you look at this one, right, you can see that there is a function f, and in the definition of the function f you have another function g which is defined. Okay, so you have the function f of x, and which returns g of x power 2. Okay, and the g of x is actually defined inside the body of f of x, and g of x is return x plus 1. Okay, so let's just try to see what it does. So we will take the IPython interpreter, def def f of x, def g of x, okay, and return x plus 1. We know that x plus 1 is what g of x is returning, and f of x is going to return g of x power 2. Return g of x okay. So let's try f of 3, that gave us 16. F of 2, that gives us 9. Okay, so whatever number we give, we get the square of the next number. Okay, so this is an example for a nested function where a function is actually defined inside the body of another function. Now let's try to see whether we can access g of x. And when you try to access g of x, right, it says that g is not defined because the function g is defined in the local scope of f of x. Okay, so this is the example for nested functions, and we can try calling let's say func is equal to, okay, this one and this one are different. Okay, if I did not have anything in x and I only had to pass it to g, okay, and in that case I can call function is equal to f of f and then call function of 1. So let's try that. Okay, def, so instead of f and g, I'm going to give it as a. Okay, def a, def b of x, okay, and return x plus 1 and return b. So b is what we want to return. Okay, in this example we can try f func is equal to a. So we are assigning the address, you can say the reference of f, to a new name called func. So I have assigned the reference of a to func. So if I type func question mark, right, it will tell me that it is A. So my computer is a bit too slow today, unfortunately. Right. So it says that it is a function which takes an argument x. There is no docstring. Okay, it's a function. And now let us try to see func of 1. That should give us 2. Okay, because b, right, in this particular example it's called g in the slide, and in the IPython interpreter I wrote f as a and g as b. Okay, so when I call func of 1, the b or the g will get executed from f. So first f will be invoked and then g will be returned. Okay, and then g of x will be returned as x plus 1. You can also call it in a slightly different way. You can call it this way as well. Okay, because the argument 1 is the one that you pass to function b. Okay, so you can call it as this also. So this is returning functions, and you can nested functions, and you can also return functions this way. So we have learned functions. We have seen that functions can take either no arguments or more than one argument. Okay, and so it takes either 0 arguments or it takes more number of arguments. It returns none implicitly or any number of values. Okay, default and keyword arguments. So we have seen default arguments and keyword arguments. So we have seen that if we give the name, we specify the name of one of the arguments, then we have to it has to be the last arguments. Otherwise you have to specify the names of the if you are going to jumble it up, right, then you have to specify the names of the arguments. Then we have seen the variable scope, the global keyword, then mutable and immutable arguments, and the nested functions. So that's it about functions. Okay, now if we go into the practice functions, you can see that the questions over there are pretty simple. Okay, practice exercise for functions. You can see that okay, let's take a look at the first exercise. So here we have to create a function, or it's about function without arguments. So we have to define a function called prompt. The function should ask the user to enter their name. Okay, the function should not take any arguments. The function should not return anything. The function should print hello name. For example, if the user enters Sam, you have to print hello Sam. So you have to create a function which will take the input. Okay, that is, the input function will be called by the function. Okay, and not outside. And the function will not take any arguments. It will not return anything, but it instead will just return it will just print hello name. So let's try that. Okay, how many of you can try that, please? I'll wait. It's a simple thing. So students, am I still connected to the call?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who is going to try this? All of you must, ideally. Okay, do not think that your friend is going to solve it and I am just going to copy it from my friend. Okay, so Bhadraksh Bhargava has sent something over here. So def hello name is equal to input printf formatted string hello name. Okay, but why do you why have you given a comma there, Badraksh? Is that necessary? Okay, it's a typo. Yeah, because you don't require that because it's a formatted string. Okay, uh, so let's try that. Let's try the same thing that Badraksh Bhargava has sent, and instead of the comma, I'll remove the comma. So we have a function called hello, which is going to take no input, no arguments. Okay, but inside the function, it takes the input from the keyboard, and it prints hello name. Whatever the person enters will be printed with a hello before. So let's try to yeah. So now the function hello is defined. Okay, so if I call hello, okay, it will not ask me to enter anything, but I have to enter something. So I am entering Sam. So it says hello Sam. Now let's try a is equal to hello. Oh, let me try result is equal to hello. Okay, and then I enter Sam. It prints hello Sam. Now I'm going to see what is the output of result. Okay, so I'm just going to print result, and there's nothing in result. Okay, so I'm going to type what is there in result, type result, and you can see that since the function hello that we have defined over here does not return anything by default, I mean it doesn't return anything. Okay, and by default it returns a none type if the function doesn't return anything, and that is the reason why I wanted to show you this particular statement, result is equal to hello, where result will finally have the none type value. Okay, the none type, because the function hello returns a none type since we have no explicit return statement over there, and it implicitly returns a none type. Okay, so I think that was pretty simple, right? That's a very simple question that we had, although the number of statements for this particular questions, or the number of words that you have to read for the question is more, and the code itself is very small. Okay, so next is, so this was the solution. Next is a function with one argument. So you can define a function called prompt. The function should take a single string argument. Do not ask the user for input, that is, do not use the function input. The function should not return anything. The function should print hello name. For example, if the function is passed Sam, print hello Sam. So you have to modify this particular function into a different way, where you are passing the string to the function, right? The function should take a single string argument. So let's try that. Def hello, okay, or hello to name, print hello name. Okay, so hello to Sam, and it prints hello Sam. Okay, so we have a function which takes one argument, which is a single string argument. So it takes one string argument. It does not ask the user for any input. The function does not return anything, correct? And the function prints hello Sam or hello Advait, whatever. Okay, so that is another function. Now we can have another function with return. So this is something that you should try. Okay, so I think I will leave the exercises with the functions here with you, and I'll go forward with the, because these questions are pretty simple. All of these questions are pretty simple. You should read them up, and try to solve it by yourself. Okay, now I'm leaving the functions here. Okay, so here the next question is function with 2 arguments. So the question is pretty simple. Define a function called add. The function should take 2 arguments. The function should return the sum of the 2 arguments. Do not use input, do not print anything. So this is something that we have already done, right? So I'm closing this over here, and I'm moving on to the next topic in the Python. Okay, and this topic, right, comes before files or exceptions. All right, this comes before files and exceptions, and this is called modules. So we have I think there is some issue with the code that is compiled. 9, right? PDF. Okay, so we are going to learn the Python language modules. So Python modules, okay, modules allows us to organize our code. Okay, you can collect different functions or different code that has a similar functionality. It could be functions, it could be constants, it could be classes. We haven't learned classes as such, okay, but we have seen objects so far. So we know what's the difference between a function and a method, okay, and we have not so far learned classes formally, but there is something called classes. Okay, so it could be a class, it could be a function, it could be constant, or it could be multiple functions, it could be multiple classes, or it could be multiple constants together that you want to organize together in one or organized together as a part of similar functionality. Okay, so you can collect similar functionality together and you can organize your code into something called a module. Okay, so definitely a function will have only one responsibility, right? It does one thing, and a class also does one thing. A constant has one meaning, right? And now we are trying to create small components, right? Maybe small functions and small classes which will do simple arithmetic calculations. Okay, and we can create a module for mathematics in Python if we want. So that's the idea. Okay, so you create the add function, you create the subtract function, you create the division function, you create the modulus functions, you create all those things. So you have multiple functions, then you have different classes with let's say complex numbers, okay, and several other mathematical things. Okay, and then you can collect all of them together and you can call it as one big module, math module for Python. So that's the kind of rough idea that you have to have when I say a module. Okay, so you can simply define the variables, functions and classes in a file with a .py extension, and this file becomes a module. The file should be a valid variable name. Okay, the file name should be a valid variable name. So creating a module in Python is not a big difficult thing or anything. All you have to do is you have to save a py file with the variables, functions and the classes that you want, and the file becomes a module. Okay, and the file name should be a valid variable name. So you can use the import keyword to load a module. Okay, so the import keyword loads a module. So you can use two kind of constructs. Okay, so in the second bullet point and in the third bullet point we have used the import statement in two ways. So one is from the module import name1 comma name2. Name1 can be a function, name2 can be a variable, comma name3 can be a class. It could be anything. So from module import name1 comma name2. So here you have imported name1 and name2 in your workspace. And otherwise you can import everything in the module by from module import star. So imports everything from module, and this you should use only when you are doing in the interactive mode. If you are going to write a script, right, and in your particular script you are going to use only name1 and name2, and there are more other things in the module which you don't have to necessarily import in your namespace, then you can use the first way, and the second way should be used only with the interactive shell when you are working with it. Okay, so you have what did we learn? We learned about something called modules. Okay, a Python module will help us organize our code, collect functions which are similar, the classes and the constants all having the similar functionality are collected together and put into a simple .py file. Okay, the py file, right, it should have a valid variable name. It cannot have a invalid variable name for the file name. In that case you can't use it as a module. And the function, the keyword that you use to import the contents of your module into your program is by using the keyword import. You can do it by two ways. Either you can import everything from the module, or you can import selected components. Just a second, guys. Okay, so you can choose to import everything from the module, or you can choose selected components. You will choose selected components when you are writing a script, and you will select everything from the module only when you are writing or developing the program in interactive mode in the IPython shell or in the Python interpreter. Okay, so that is the import keyword. So the module file names, right, should start with a letter or underscore. So the module file name can start with a letter or an underscore. Can use underscore and numbers. You can have numbers and underscores in the file name. The file name should ideally start with a letter or an underscore, not a number. Okay, you cannot have a dot in the file name. Of course, module.py, okay, that dot is allowed, but you can't have additional dots. You can't have spaces or special characters in the module file name. Okay, so you can't have several things if you are going to collect multiple things into a Python module. The file name should be a valid variable name. It should start with either a letter or an underscore. Okay, and it can have underscores and numbers, but you can't have dot in the variable name, and you can't have spaces or special characters also in the variable name. So let's take a look at which are the valid variable names here. Can someone tell me which are valid and which are invalid? Each line represents one module name. So 1 underscore script.py, is it valid or invalid? Students? So this slide, right, slide number 7 is based on what we have covered in the slide number 6 and in the slide number 4. Okay, so slide number 4 is it says that the file becomes a module and the file name should be a valid variable name, and slide number 6 says that it can start with an underscore or a letter. Okay, can use underscore and numbers, no dot is allowed, and no spaces or special characters are allowed. Now coming to the slide number 7, which are the valid module names and which are the invalid module names? Can someone try, please?
So second one, script underscore 1.py,
is valid or invalid?
so valid as it's as sir, it should start with underscore,
Yeah, it should
or it can
start
start
with,
with any.
yeah, it should start with underscore or a letter. So the first one underscore script.py is invalid, script underscore 1.py is valid, 111.py is valid, underscore 111.py is valid, 1 space script.py is invalid, 1
Yeah, not
comma script colon xxx.py is invalid, and
Invalid.
1.2.py is also
not.
invalid. Okay, so moving forward, let's say you have the following content in a file. Okay, so let's try to do that. So for example, uh, okay, cd minus 1, cd minus clear, and emacs nw fib.py. So we have some var is equal to 1, def fib. So so can you tell me why we pass end equal to space here? That's it. Okay, so we have a file which contains the following things: sum var is equal to 1, and then we have a function called fib of n which prints the Fibonacci series. Okay, so that's the question. Now you can actually import fib. Okay, that's the same fib.py, right? So you can do an import fib, and fib.fib of 10 will print the Fibonacci series, and fib.sum var will give you 1. So let's take a look at whether it's correct or not. So let's try exclamation pwd, so which means that pwd is a shell command, and it's not a native Python command that I am going to run. It's not a Python statement, it's a shell command. So exclamation pwd meaning that I'm going to run a shell command from this particular location. So pwd should tell me which is my present working directory, and if I am in home Anup Python 3, then that is where I have saved the fib.py. Okay, so I should ideally be in Python 3. Yes, I'm in Python 3, and I can try ls fib.py. So again with the exclamation mark ls fib.py. So ls space fib.py, you can see that this is a very simple shell command that I am running from my Python interpreter by using a exclamation, and you can see that fib.py is actually there. I can also do a cat there, if cat fib.py, and it says this is the content of the file. Okay, now I can do an import fib. Okay, so import fib, it has imported it from the fib.py. How was it able to import it from fib.py? Because fib.py was saved in /home Anup Python 3 /fib.py, and I am right now in home Anup Python 3. So which means that this particular module is there in this particular location where I am running my Python interpreter from. Okay, so import fib. Now fib dot, and I am pressing a tab. Let's see what are the completions that will happen. Okay, so it says fib.py. Of course, because there's a file name called fib.py, that's the reason why it's showing fib.py, but otherwise fib.fib and fib.sum var is what we are really interested in. So fib.fib question mark, it says Fibonacci series is printed, and it says that it's a file in tilde python 3 fib.py. I've told you that this tilde, right, it stands for my home directory, and home directory means it is /home /Anoop, because Anoop is the username. So this slash, I mean, so this tilde python3 fib.py, right, it translates to /home /Anoop /python3 fib.py. And you can see that when I did fib question mark, it printed the doc string that is there in the file. Fibonacci series is printed, okay, and I try 2 question marks, it will give me the implementation of the fib function as well. And I do a fib.sum var question mark, it will tell me what it is. It is an integer type, right? And fib.sum var, it will also have the value, because that is what we have defined. Fib.sum var is equal to 1, right? So you can see that sum var is equal to 1 in this particular file, fib.py, and when I have imported fib.sum var is also imported. So that is one way. I can also do from fib import star. So earlier, how did I do that? Import fib, right? This was what I did. I can also do from fib import star. Okay, now I don't have to do fib.fib. Of course, that is also possible because I have done import fib, but I can do just fib question mark, okay, and that is because I have done from fib import star. So everything is imported into my namespace. So fib, and then sum var is also there. Okay, so you can see that we have seen an example of module where we have a module with which has one function and one variable in a file called fib.py, and we import it from the fib. So import fib, so fib.fib, then fib.sum var. Okay, so fib of 10, fib of fib.fib of 10, right? What happened? Fib dot. Oh, I know. You know why? You know why this has resulted in an error? This line number 152 and not 151. Can someone tell me? I'll show you the previous statements. Yeah. So this is enough context for you, students. So this is again, you should understand. This is about understanding the errors, etc. Yeah. So someone was going to speak. Can someone tell me why did the line number 152 result in an error, while line number 151 worked? While earlier, it worked earlier. So earlier I could do fib and it worked, right? But not now. Why? Students, this is very, very unexpected to have this silence. Yes. Abhishek, it is okay even if you are telling me a wrong thing, okay? But the thing is, you should try.
I was telling that earlier, if it accepted, I think means because of that look, in my point of view, because of that local variable that has been used, now it is not being used. That can be one of the reason,
No,
or
no, no. So
in
okay, let
absence
me
of
let me tell you
one
the
of the
reason.
attribute, it is not there.
So you can see line number 147 and 148 that I have highlighted, right? Are you able to
Yes,
see? Okay, in the first one, what is done? Import fib.
yes.
So that creates a module in my workspace, allowing me to do fib of 10, correct? So let me try that. Import fib, okay, fib question mark, it works. Fib of 10, it works, correct? So which means that I have imported this module into my namespace, and now from the namespace it is available. So I can type of fib, and it says that it's a module, correct? But the next
Sir,
time,
the whole module has not been imported, I think.
no, I have done
Means
import
in
fib,
the
right?
in the
It
statement,
says
ma'am,
fib
in the
dot.
statement said that from fib import star. I think not the whole module has been imported. Only
Okay, so
some
that
part
is
of
one
the
thing that you
module.
need to understand. From
Yes.
fib import star, right? So
Yes. Sir.
okay, so let's say when we did in line number 153, we did import fib, and in line number 154 we saw that the fib.fib is there, and we were able to run the fib.fib of 10 in line number 155, and in line number 156 we have seen type of fib, and in line number 157 we have seen that fib.somewhere is also there. Now I am doing from fib import star. Now what happens is I type fib of 10, correct? Will it work? No, it will not. Okay, because it says function object has no attribute fib. So earlier when I typed type of fib, it was a module. Now I type of fib, it becomes a function. Why? Because from this module I have imported everything into my namespace. So fib and then somewhere is now available in my namespace. You don't have to call it by module dot fib and module dot somewhere. Okay, so earlier it was a module which was holding the which was identified by fib, and now fib is a function. That is the reason why it did not work. Are you guys able to understand? Yes?
Yes, sir. Little.
No? Anybody who says no?
Sir, then if you want to import a part from that module, we
So
can.
in you can in that case uh, from fib import, let's say you want to import only some var, you can do that. So for that what I will do is del fib and del some var. Okay, now fib is not there and some var is also not there. Now I am doing from fib import some var. Okay, and you can see that some var is now there but fib is not there.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yes, I think Abhishek Mohanty was able to understand that, and that's the reason why he asked me that question. What if we want to import selected few things? Okay, so over here we have used a star where this module fib, which was imported in line number 147, got replaced by the function fib from this star. Okay, and that is the reason this did not work. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So so that is example for module. Now this is something else. I don't think I will have time to complete this particular thing, because this is not very something obvious to you guys, that can be very obvious to you guys. Okay, which means that it can be quite tricky for you to understand what it is. Okay, so over here we are going to discuss about something called a Python path. Now let me take the terminal, save it and close it. Whenever I type Emacs, right, it opens up my editor, right? Whenever I type gedit, it opens up my editor. Okay, so I can go to slash home Anub git folder. Okay, and you can do an ls over there. You can see that there is no file or folder named as Emacs here. So, and when I type Emacs, right, or when I type gedit, so gedit is also not there. So when I type gedit, you can see that the text editor has opened up over here, right, which means that something has happened when I typed gedit over here. And same way, when I typed Emacs over here, something has happened, and that's the reason why the Emacs editor was opened up. Now what has happened is my question. So for that, I will type another command, locate gedit. Okay, wow, that was long, very oh, okay, I'll type another command, okay, which gedit. Yeah, so that gave me only one. Okay, and I am typing which Emacs, and it says that okay, so when I type gedit, it says slash user bin gedit, and which Emacs, it says slash user bin Emacs. So user bin means binary, gedit is the program name. So when I typed Emacs, I told you, right, when I typed ls in this particular folder where I am right now, you can see that there is no folder named Emacs, or no folder or file named Emacs, no folder or file named gedit. And when I type nano, right, it also opens up the nano editor, and I type which nano, that also points to slash user bin nano. I typed ls, it prints something, right? I type which ls, it prints ls alias to ls underscore ls space hyphen hyphen color is equal to tty. That is because it has been aliased, and that is actually there in the bash configuration. Okay, so I can type cd, right? Cd is home anub git, so I can type which cd, and it says shell built-in command. Okay, so this command which, right, so which Emacs or which gedit or which cd or which nano, right, or I can say git log, right, I can say git log. It says that it's not a git repository, so I go into IIIT the folder, and I type git log over there. You can see that now it has given me a log. Okay, now you can see that git is a function, git is a program that I am running, right? So I can also do which git. Okay, and it says user bin git. Okay, so which git. So essentially any command that you are running from anywhere in your computer path, right, that points to some file. Okay, so I'll do ls user bin. I did an ls user bin, and it has printed several things over here. It has printed several binary programs that are available on my computer over here. Okay, that can be called. Okay, so which means that whatever program name I type, which are over here, which are available over here, let's say IPython 3 is also like that, right? You can see IRB, IPython 3, update DB, unzip. Okay, you can see Inkscape, you can see uncompress, umount, import. Okay, you can see that there are a lot of functions, lot of programs that are available in the user bin folder. Okay, and there are programs for text, I mean tech. Okay, how I compile the file into a PDF, right? So you can see that a lot of programs are there, and this is all available in the folder user slash bin. Okay, so which means that whenever you are going to type a command on a terminal, something is going to be executed, and what is going to be executed from where is all dependent on some configuration. Okay, and this user bin is called a path. Okay, so I'm going to do something called echo $path. I have echoed dollar path. Now this dollar path is something called a shell variable. Okay, so this is a shell variable which is and what is a shell? Shell is the command shell that you are working with, this particular command shell that you're working with. So I have done echo dollar path, which is printing the path variable of the shell, and it prints some paths over here. It printed home linux brew dot linux brew bin, home linux brew dot linux brew ns bin slash home slash anoop. So it is separated by a colon. Okay, so it is separated by a colon slash home anoop local bin user bin user local games user games snap bin home anoop local bin. Wow, it said that when I printed the path, right, it has printed a huge string which contains multiple paths which are separated by a colon. Okay, so these are all the paths that you can see over here that are all separated by a colon. Okay, so it goes up till here, then slash bin, then user local games, user games, etc. Okay students, so I think I will stop here. Has your next faculty member joined for the class?
Yes, sir.
Has your next faculty member joined for the class?
Sir, I have not joined yet. He may have joined, sir. I think so. I have not
Yes, sir.
joined.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. He came.
Yeah, okay. So I think that should be fine. You guys can leave. Thank you so much. If you guys have 2 minutes, I think I'll share the attendance link also. Just a second, guys. Web technology. No, this is introduction to computer. Not this course. Yeah. For some reason this session is not over there, so I'll just uh, uh, Akash, can you please note down the absentees today and send it to me,
Okay, sir.
please? Okay, just the absentees and send it to me. So just Aditya. Thank you guys. So let's meet tomorrow for the extra hour. Bye.
Sir, tomorrow is holiday or not?
Why is tomorrow a holiday?
Sir,
Because sir,
Eid.
tomorrow is Eid, sir. It's a national holiday.
Oh, is it? If tomorrow is a national holiday that way and our institute is also having a holiday, we'll have a holiday. No problem. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I won't be taking classes because there could be people who celebrate Eid in this class and I really do not want to disturb them. Okay? So, on those occasions, we will definitely break. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.